What's up, everybody? It's Hunter Oakley here. I'm back with another video. Week 14 of commercial dive school is done. If you guys haven't seen any of my prior videos or you're not familiar with what I'm doing like weekly recaps on how my commercial diving school in Seattle, Washington, called the Divers Institute of Technology is. So I basically just go over what we're doing pretty much day to day. So if you're curious of how, if you want to do it yourself or whatever, and you're curious of how it kind of goes, you can come back and check out these videos and whatnot. So this is week 14. It's like the second week of us underwater welding and kind of really not mastering it, but figuring it out. You know, the first few times it was strange. You're doing something you've absolutely never done before. Some of the guys have never even welded before, so definitely trying to get as much practice time as we can in for these next few weeks. So Monday we started off just practicing our T-joints, and I tacked up a T-joint in the vertical position also. So I did one going, I think you're going downhill. Yeah. Just to get familiar with doing different welds at different angles and whatnot. So practice that. Then the rest of the day I was a tender, and that, or not the whole rest of the day, but I was a tender for quite a bit that day. And then we have a topside project that we were kind of working on just to work on our skills and everything. So if we didn't have like a designated job, we were inside working on our topside project. And what it is exactly is you cut out like a 6-inch, you cut out a 6-inch piece of flat stock, 6x6, and then you cut a 4-inch square in the middle of it. So there's an inch barrier all around it. So you cut that out, clean it up a little bit, and then on one side there's different kinds of rods and whatnot when it comes to stick welding. You guys don't really need to know this, but we would do a 60-10 root pass and then two 70-18 cover passes. And so we did that, and then you cut a circle out of the middle, like probably like a 2.5-inch circle out of the middle of that square. And then you clean it up a little bit, put it back in there, do another 60-10 root pass, just to work on your traveling angle and everything. You know, doing a circle is a little bit more challenging than actually running a straight pass. So we did that. That was a pretty cool little project. And then we did, at the end of it, when you're completely done and the instructor sees, he'll tell you to chop it in half with which I've never heard before, actually. You get a 60-10 rod and you run it really hot, and you can actually kind of, I mean, it's not a pretty cut, it makes a big mess, but you can almost saw your way through the metal and cut with it in a pinch. I mean, obviously if you had an option, an oxy torch or a 60-10 rod, you'd always pick the oxy torch. But if you only had a stick welder laying around and you needed to chop some metal in a pinch, you definitely could. So that was pretty interesting. I've never heard of that before. Then Tuesday, we just did some more practicing underwater. It's the day before our weld test underwater, so we were really trying to polish up our skills and dial in the machine to what we kind of liked individually. So we did that. I just went in there. Actually, that day, that was, I got cut short a little bit on my on my dive. They were doing 80-minute dives, I believe, that day. And I was only able to get in there for 45 minutes because the hat wasn't set up correctly, so we had to redo that. And then the rest of that day, we just prepped our metal for the underwater welding test. So what the underwater weld test at the school is you get a 6-inch piece of flat stock, again, 6x6. It has to be really close, like no leeway. And then you get two 4-inch squares also, but you don't cut out the center. and on one side you put a hole, like a 1/8 inch hole. So one of those 4-inch squares has an 1/8 inch hole, the other one doesn't. And what you're supposed to do is just do a lap weld all the way around all 4 sides. And that one that has a hole, we have like this little vise that someone a long time ago built at the school that pinches in like an air hose, and you can hook up that air hose to that little hole that's in there and see if there's any leaks around the weld. And every leak you lose 5 points off of 100. So we prepped the metal for it. You had to clean it all off, get off all the mill scale and everything, and ready for the next day. And then the next day was the weld test. So I got in there, did my thing, got out. I had a feeling that there was one spot that may have leaked, and I was like kind of bummed, and I was like, whatever. So got out, checked it, and ended up being 2 different spots on the weld. On both of the corners I screwed up slightly and hosed myself, so I got a 90 on it. Whatever, it happens. But the welds, I mean, I was happy with them. They're pretty good in my opinion. So whatever, I learned. And then the rest of that day, we were kind of picking up the shop a little bit and used all the scrap metal that we've been cutting and welding these past few weeks. And we just made like art with it, so we can, because we're going to be cutting with the broco rod the rest of this next week. So we were welding it all together so we can lower it into the water with the crane and chop it all up with the broco rod. So we made like a little, I made like a little hippie, I don't even know what it was. It was like a little person with a jetpack on the back of him. I'll put a picture of him right here. But then, yeah, so the rest of that day we just welded stuff together and made creative stuff out of scrap metal. And then Thursday was basically just cleaning up the whole day. There was 2 dives earlier in the morning. Those guys, 2 of them had to redo their weld test, and then the other guys were cleaning the tanks, so they were scrubbing the whole inside of the tanks to just clean them out, you know, for the next class that comes into those tanks. And then the shop also, we deep cleaned the shop, grinded off all the cables, and blew out the shop with an air compressor and everything. And then at the and then also we kind of got everything set up for Monday when we're cutting with the broco rods down on a different barge. So we got all that organized and ready to go. So hopefully that'll go smooth on Monday. And then we got to cut with the broco rods topside, which is pretty sweet. It's kind of messy, chucks sparks and everything everywhere, but it's cool. It's like a giant sparkler. I'll put a video right here also so you can check it out. That's pretty much it for this week. It's a good week. I feel like I progressed a ton from the first time I was welding underwater from the last weld test. And then, yeah, I don't know. I think it was just slowly progressing. I mean, for everyone, I feel like it was a little bit different than topside, but even topside, I haven't welded stick in so long that it kind of took me a little bit to get the hang of it again. I thought I was going to be fine, and the first day of welding topside, I was like, geez, I kind of suck. Then I figured it out, so it's just all different for everybody, but this week went good, and I'll put those clips in so you guys can check out the broco rod I'll put a picture of my weld test on there, and then whatever else I just told you I was going to put on. So thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you on the next week. Next week should be sweet because we're going to be cutting with the broco rod, so that'll be fun. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys on week 15 about that, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.